solo event, Theme Chronicles of time, so let's get started. The first deck we gotta go over is pretty much utilizing the blue eyes, utilizing the white stone ancients with minimize of blue with a secondary backup, followed by 2 sages of blue, followed by white stones of ancients. 2, technically I would have done 3 though, but it's more of an experiment for this fest. 2 Mekknights, 2 ashes, Keeper Dragon Maids so I can actually get most of my cheers onto the field, evolving blue eyes or fusions. Restricted. Also, Dictator D is at 3 for his whole event. With Blue Eyes turn back be at 3, I would have done 2, but I don't feel like it. Next up, we have Chaos, which essentially is what I'm doing for this event, for a backup plan. Nebula, I would do 2 over this, personally, since it's brick though, but we're running some darks anyway, in a sense of Dictator D and Keeper Dragon Maid, so we have more consistency for it outside Nebula. That. Mostly so we get sent to removal. Shuffle 1 card, both lights, destroy 2 cards on fields, which is useful. Followed by 2 jets. Nebula, just if I level 8 dragon, special summon both of them, but they get effects, then I cannot special summon except for Lion Darks. Dragon's Rest of turn, which most of my deck is. Next up, Wonder Regeki. I don't feel like fracting more, since I don't feel like it. More Heartbeats removal, Lightning Storm Wood is still there, Polymerization mostly so I can utilize Guardian Chimera in my hand, till some of my blue eyes to graves. Trading is mostly to draw cards, Melody to have my blue eyes in hand, Dark Rule no more, so I had it on mitigate in a sense since I can't use Brightnade whatsoever, as a backup plan. Lightning Storm followed by Super Polymerization. I haven't decided my materials either way entirely yet, so I'm still thinking what the heck to choose from, but if my point target stuff I have, at least I can get rid of it if they realize something like Impermamind. Followed by 2 Call Big Graves, Ultimate Fusion so I can go into my blue eyes either way by shuffling the deck. It's more like a 1 or 2 personally, at best. Followed by 2 Imperms to negate, 2 Blue Eyes Ultimate, so if I don't have it on my field or by True Light, which allows me to special 1 Blue Eyes or add material, set 1 card evolving them, I have that option. Followed by Destined Rivals, which is a secondary Dark Ruler no more, but I need to have it on the field to utilize it instead. Followed by Sullen Judgment, and for extra decks, certainly we have Blue Eyes Tyrant, mostly, which is just so it's on fed trap cards with effects. Discard attack all monsters, opponent controls 1/6. Guardian Chimera mostly so I can play any 1 monster in hand and field, which is mostly a brick card at best, so I run summon Super Poly with 1 searcher, so I have 3 ways to get most of my fusions in my hand. And then this is fusion summon by spell card. Destroy materials up to it. You mostly want to destroy cards in the field personally, unless you gain Jet or Blue Eyes to the grave to make it worth it. Followed by 2 Twin Bursts, which I don't need fusion for, but you can't destroy battle, 2 attacks. Ultra Neo appearance actually into an end-game for fusion, since we can send 1 Blue Eyes to the grave, and discarding controls, you can start attack again, up to numbers. During player's turn, when the card targets activated, you can banish this card from your grave and negate it if you do destroy that card. This card is also a good countermeasure if you get destroyed by battle whatsoever, somehow. Blue Eye Spirit to mostly negate graveyard effects. I just realized I forgot to put 0 in here, but it would be an option. I'm mostly testing the water so far. Of what this whole event is, and 2, I might just want to learn towards the best loner deck I feel like I'm utilizing. Dragonland mostly it's just whatever card. So we expel some cards. Also get Jet in the field more easily, I feel like, or opponents can't activate them. Hope mostly for the negate spells. Orcus, since I now have it, it's mostly just to destroy cards or sending cards to the grave. Dragonland mostly get to either 2 until I set cards up. Heretic mostly so I have something to negate stuff, and it's also the quick effect, so that makes it useful. Zombie Vampire is essentially just an if statement, so it's like I send cards to grave, both sides of fields, and draw. I mean, special summon my monsters. Sorry, I was thinking of something else about. Next up, what's going on to the Beetrooper lower deck? Pretty much just very straightforward. The Gulper are mostly for a special summon by the Gulpeel. This mostly since you can also extender add 1 normal monster bit to add it to send to the graveyard discard. Special summon, then destroy one card monster as equal to and equal to special summon, which isn't much unless we have something that increases attack. Followed by Beetrooper, which is just an extender to special one for itself from the deck or grave or hand. Finally, Beetrooper skill bug. Pretty much you can mostly make most of the cards except for like maybe a few of the cards that are yours. If it's damage, allows you to special under the hand, and it also allows you to shoot one monster, and it activates effects, destroys it, which can make it useful. Reasons mostly go into links, so you can mostly more powerful cards to your hand, and it also gets banished too, which is useful for like 2 cards in the solid deck, 1 main deck, and 1 in the extra deck. Technically 4 in total with it. Retiling C mostly points activate a spell card that special summons monster, special in the hand, and it bans anything else to send to grave. It gets banished and it's sent to field. You can add 1 Ursec monster, which is useful. Beetrooper Slot Roller allows you to allows you to special summon once and accidentally gains attack points. Equal to it, and when started out, add 1 Beetrooper from your deck to hand, which can be anything. Primitive Butterfly is more like a 2 of a best, since it's the easy extender. If you control no monsters, you can special summon, and all inside monsters also rank increase, which is useful. However, Beetle Light Flapper is mostly normal special, target 2 your opponent's monsters. Target 2 your real troopers that are where different names are banished or in the grave, add them to your hand, but you can activate their effects or effects with the card names. And when opponent's monsters attack, you can just return this card if you do, negate it, which is useful in some cases. Beetrooper Sting Lancer. Next up, pretty much same thing. But in this sense, during your main phase, during any player's turn, target 1 instant monster in your grave and 1 monster points for yours, send them both in the grave, special summon this one. And this card's normal summon, add 1 Beetrooper to spell card or trap to your hand. Doomdozer, everyone should know it if you like. Banish 2 insects, add it, special summon it, and send top card points, deal those damage. Super armored, if you have 3 insects and names, target any number of them, special summon this card for hand, then encrypt it to, and then destroy a monster attack equal to and greater to the tag the monster sent to the grave. It's useful for links in that sense. It's and Super Beetrooper, which you should have from the solo event for it. You can shuffle 3 banished insect monsters that are into the main deck, and it allows special summon it, and this card is destroyed by battle or card effect points. You special summon this thing once per turn, and any monster insect gains 1000 attack, which is useful. Harpies, Foolish Burial mostly for Gokpole. Terraforming mostly add any the field spells. Lightning Storm is one of, but it's useful. Beetrooper allows you to special summon 1 insect token, then if you control 3000 attack more, destroy 1 other spell card in the field. Beetrooper Lightning is mostly for future summon, and if this card is a grave, except this turn was sent there, you can banish 2 instant monsters, add this card to hand, which is a free +1. Giant Ballpark is pretty much where you mostly need point monster. You can send 1 level 4 lower insect from your deck to the grave, then if you send a monster, you can special any number of cards they name as that monster in hand, deck, or grave. If a monster control is sent to the grave upon start effect, you can special summon insect normal monster for your grave, which is pretty good. Beetrooper mostly you can target 1 Beetrooper in grave, special summon it, but it cannot attack this turn. Also, you lose life points equal to its original attack. If it faces up insect monster, destroy battle card effect, special 1 token of what this one does. Call grave inventory. Beetrooper, if you have 1 Beetrooper, negate activation of a monster effect, then during turn, you can just banish 1 insect monster, which could mostly be an insect, so you can actually get cards that actually added to your hand and clean Gokpole afterwards. With the 3000 monster, you can reset this card. Fusion monster, after this card is summoned, it's unaffected by other card effects till the end of your next turn. At the end of the battle phase, you can target 1 set monster of 2000 attack in grave, special summon it. You mostly want to go into pretty much it, then pretty much go into with the Link 4, which is mostly why you want the whole Gokpole engine to work. I realized after the amount of testing and the solo replays happening, Giga Brilliance, old card, gain 3000 detachedly. It's just position this card's changed. You can special 1 instant monster from hand or grave in defense mission, but that didn't happen for me sadly when I was trying it out. When monster activates effect, you can detach material and negate it, then make one instant monster field either gain fire attack or change the battle position. I think it might be a effects or something. Battle event, once per turn, you can detach target one monster from control, banish until your opponent's next standby phase. At the end of its damage up, this card is attacked. You can make this thing gain 300, then do rank 3 up. Pretty much rank up C essentially by using rank 3 before, but you need to detach 2 materials, and mostly target one defense monster opponent's controls, silent in the grave. Once per turn, the battle position of the monster in the field is changed. Detach one insect monster and bring it discards seize materials, which could be pretty much gold pull since it doesn't matter. Finally, discards link summon. For Inzektor, discard one card, target one other insect control, equip one insect monster deck to it. Its equip card, gain 300. You can target the insect monster in your grave, shelf them in deck, then draw one card, which is kind of useful a bit here and there. Shinobi Insect Hakno. 2 monsters, different names. While this card points to monster, opponent monsters cannot target monsters to control for attacks, which is only mostly utilized for mostly the link for it discard monster. This card points to your card effect, special one level 4 or insect bash, but bash may be field, which is where you want mostly exceeds afterwards with it. Beetrooper Horn, you can special summon monsters, insect monsters. Pretty much, it's just a free extender since that you can normal summon one more monster for a hand that's an insect and banish 3 insects. Spring Grave, special summon it, which is useful. Go pull. I never proc the second skill at all this whole time. The gain 300 did. The second one, but not the third. Somehow, I do not understand this. It didn't want to work with me, unlike some people I saw. Natural, while this summon card has 3 energy attack or less, point can't target this card with card effects. Also, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. You can add special summon monster insects, treatment one insect, either special and Beetrooper from your deck, which can be utilized for resident insects, or go pull again. So you get free special summon all proc or add, then this card gains 2,000 tactile and churn. So either way, it's a free +1 here and there with those 2 in mind. Let's get straight into the match. First off is essentially the engine I explained, but normal monsters with super armored. Mostly with Ballpark, mostly more focused with crossouts, Torrent, Palezoic, Trap Tricks, Dragon Prison, Iron Wall, so nothing can be banished, which works mostly against 2 matchups. This thing doesn't work against C's or Links. Non-turtles, mostly so they can actually get more Palezoics in the grave, mostly activate effects. Palezoic fusion mostly sees, with mirrors mostly being exception, alongside Millet Sin and Hope and Orcus, besides utilizing Zeus. Let's get straight in a match. You know, this video is the only time I actually ever made something to add to a video at all. 2 matches so far, I just remember like one of them. Oh wait, I need that. First off, I was sure about the Lightning Storm. Add blue eyes, get rid of the Torrent. I had a feeling it might have been Torrent here. Alternative attacks. Go into Jet. So have an out permanently. Said that if they kaiju'd it, I figured at best I have something to work with. Alright, special summon Lord D. Sign a regular ice. When it activates Ice Dragon Prison. Okay, this is where I made a light misplay since I never knew the interaction with it. I just figured, I actually figured that this thing could proc before it, so I'm lucky enough I even had a chance here. The only thing I wish I had Ice Dragon, I wish I had drew anything I needed. Sentence True Light. Activate True Light, special summon. Alternative. I could add Blue Eye Spell, but I figured it wasn't needed right now. Go with minus blue. Special some of my other blue eyes. Send the blue eyes I have. Go into hope. Cross out. I did not understand that reason. I was like, they think I have that card of all things in my mind. Called by the grave. I was like, okay, but I'm still gonna absorb it and especially not turn it right back. I was like, thanks for the materials. Super polymerization. Discard your Maxi since that card is mostly annoying. Go into Tyrant. Since I don't need that card since I don't have any other materials. It's just farther for the vid. Go into Spirits. Next match. Pretty much, just more or less an upgraded version of the structure deck for Galaxy Eyes, so there's not much difference compared to original stuff. I feel like I've been over this deck a dozen times since we've gone through it too many times, I feel like. With some customizations, I feel like here and there, with mostly going to the pack and everything, and the link. So let's get straight into the match. Overall, my hand was just bricky. I had nothing for extenders to work with. I figured, hey, what's the worst gonna happen? But in Special Summon, I decided to do Retaliate C if they Special Summon. If they can't get rid of it, everything else they have to be banished. Resident C was mostly so I can actually get Printed Butterfly. Goku mostly printed into this. Resident send. Get this. Special. Go into Giant Beat. Go into Goku again. I mostly was also trying to get finished on my C's for this. My opponent should have just not done it since... Honestly, I would just deal light points either way. Like, and it will still be in the field for next turn. Go into a giant, since they can't be targeted while it's Link Summon. Didn't realize that they actually get it banished. I did make a comeback later. Photon happened, and I was like, okay, what can they pull off here? And then I was like, wait a minute, they also put that Theme Monster Zone. They should have just not done it since they had Kiss Link some more. Their arrows are like pretty good. Decided to banish 3, Special Summon this. Go into this. Banish both, get both. Get the trap I need. If I can debate them, I figured they're going for game next turn. I can work with it. Send Bolton back to had the other one back to hand for next turn. They'll outlimit resources.
You got debated. You got debated. You got debated.
Mostly that's my point. I was hoping opponent would do that mostly so they can not do anything. Especially add one more extender. In a sense, the Beetrooper. Go until I was thinking about going into a link here. Go back into it. Go into that. Special summon the field again. Add one beach. Add the token. And next up, banish one insect. Get back in the field. Mind you, that's the reason why I had it in the first place. Cyclone, I was like, my opponent's trying to choice stuff now. Really? It's not going to change the game. I was hoping to finish my trap daily, but that was the one thing I was trying to look for this whole day. Overall, let's get straight into the next match. The next match is against Plunder using the Danger Engine, which is essentially a Lauren deck, so I don't feel like going over it, I feel like. since most people can go see the deck for themselves. Essentially, my hand was a little bit bricked here, but I can make it work for going to Link 2. So I can go easy Link 2. But I decided to go into number 3, mostly, so I have it out. The Imperm was the one trap I only needed like one this whole match. But I can't do anything. I can't do anything. I was hoping this thing would do something else, so I went to Digital Bug. Add Resonance to hand. My opponent decides the Imperm. Get my Resonance off. Mostly so I can make them waste cards in their hand. My goal here was mostly make them do stuff. So I decided to get rid of those two, banish it. They actually called by the grave it. And I was like, they allowed me to summon my most powerful monster in my hand right now. Go into Doom Cruiser. The sad part is, they will just destroy if I don't, so I get back in the deck by doing this. And I decided to make that 3,000 more. The point had Red Geki, which they did. Or was it like Storm? I didn't remember which one. It was one of the two. I decided to come back to the field. The only delayed enough, well, I felt like. Decided to go to Bob. They decided mostly get rid of it. It was whatever battle at that point. Decided to increase attack points mostly for safety net. Danger happened, they decided to destroy it. They decided to destroy my Beetrooper in a way. Once I knew what deck this was, this made the whole match so much easier to work with. I see how the structure does a little bit, just off what I felt like it could do. So I decided to add more cards. I should have waited on this one, but it wouldn't matter since they would just gone into it to save time. Next deck is a standard Dark Magician deck while utilizing artifacts so they can banish monsters the rest of the turn, mostly, but also mostly for ruining matchups, which is probably the best thing they could do. Also utilizing fusion deployment mostly so they can just add a material, mostly Dark Magician being a third out, I felt like. Upstarts, Card of Mind, Spellbook, mostly so they have more spellbooks to point of hand, being this, so. But personally, one of the turns made me question everything that happened at one point. The Trishna was only there, but I didn't see really a way to mostly to stink that level up. Outside Magician Souls, Ash, if you get in the field, and Artifact if it's not destroyed somehow. That was the only thing I was curious this whole match. They're more likely to get Magician Rod stand field, I feel like. Next up, Trouble Tactics is whatever at this point. 2 game, Magician Soul, Soul Servant, Secrets of Dark Magic, which is mostly standard. Next up, Standards, mostly standard. I feel like they could have just crafted or just the SRs more, I feel like, for this deck more. Since most of the stuff isn't that good or generic, the only generic thing I see that's good was Knightmare Unicorn, that's about it. But still, good props actually getting a third Dark Magician that's a roll finish. Heck, my Dark Magician, only my second copy of it, I have is only glossy rare. World Warriors are so much better. It's more flex. Overall, in my hand, I was like, okay, I Primitive Butterfly, I can mostly work with it. Then I was like, Dark Magician already? Decided to do Dark Magician Souls. They decided to go send the grave, mostly so they can draw more cards. The top deck being Spellbook, which I don't see a need for. Soul Servant, mostly get Mahad the grave. Take a top deck with Chicken Game. But it wasn't, I was surprised about that. Knightmare was like, oh, Magician's card, generic. I knew they were going Dark Magician here. The only thing I was really mad about was the Maxis. I decided to draw into that one card. My turn was... Overall, my turn was like, I can shake a game here just to get this. But then I was like... But my secondary objective, once I saw the Lightning Storm, was to make this happen. Pretty much banish there, next there. I didn't realize I forgot to zoom.
You got jebaited. You got jebaited. You got jebaited.
Next up, Lightning Storm happened, and I got the Dark Dimension out. I stopped all the plays from here on out. My whole clear is I don't care about drawing them cards though, but I'll at least special summon a normal monster. Also, since I knew the lies, they have other cards they utilized, and I was like, damn it. Magician Souls would have made this hard regardless. Sadly, I still have no monsters in my grave. I decided to go into Giant. If they have Ash, it's whatever. Go into Beetrooper. Spell on Gopal. Go into Link 3, being Summer. Your player against Bash. I was like, that wasn't my goal though, but I'll be okay with it. Add a giant beetle to hand. Beetrooper descent. I could have actually done that. My goal is I should have done that so I can actually deal more damage. Personally, after realizing it. Cards of Demise, they draw 3. Upstart happened, draw 3. Magician's Rod. Full Servant. Going to draw. They're looking for is mainly Dark Magician's point to work with. Descent when it mattered. Advance effect. My goal over there wasn't to do that. Magician's Rod sold the game here. They just thought I didn't have anything. But I had this to mostly work with, where they surrendered afterwards. Okay, this game I kind of bricked hard against aka Photon Galaxy. It's more better version, I feel like, with utilizing the newer version cards. With the Afterglows being backup, which personally, you should focus more deck with Galaxy Eyes, personally, with Afterglow in mind. Realize I got something to record. The recording being a sense that I forgot about something. So I go on Link 2 here, being Residence. If it doesn't happen, I have an out. I feel like my best choices here was to do that. What was that lag spike all of a sudden? Doing that in my turn here, I have a special summon. I can discard all these if I need to. Melody happened. I decided to mostly make that card a brick since I realized they had some cards that actually added cards to back their hand. So I decided to make them work for effort if they don't have it already. The Palezoic Prime was what happened that actually cost me the game afterwards because of it. And with Afterglow's double attack of it, so that's where it happened. Okay, next match was essentially Mekknight mixed in with Knightmares. And the Orcrest cards, a little bit, mostly Mekknights. Personally, I did not expect them to be here. I wish I would have done something else different. Utilizing mostly a lot of solo great cards alongside some generics and cards like Cyber's cards, which outside Knightmares I don't see one. Knightmare Unicorn followed by Bow. Okay. Honestly, if I could have actually built my own Beetletrooper, if I actually had more of the yours, I might just do it if it just ever pops up, probably. If nothing else, I would do it just so I can actually have a better workaround with most of my deck and add smidgens. The Ninja's alright. I could craft everything but the UR, so. Terraforming, I figured try and build a trooper so I can extend. Build a trooper, send this to grave. Special on that. Take the last 1,000 points damage, special summon this. Go into Cookbowl. I had the Resonance to hand. Special on Resonance. Pop off. I was trying to actually still trying to proc that card. I figured the quick effect will happen. If nothing else, I should have waited. Next on the end of my turn, what they're telling me see, so I can banish anything else they have and have it out for some stuff. The Ology, I was like, eh. Mind you, that was just to get a combo with Knightmare. When this card is targeted, it discards on scroll, you put some card to put inside the field, and I knew they had tried to do something here. But afterwards, I should have gone for the columns when it mattered. They still would have no card to set, so it didn't matter where I put it. Point size destroy it, but it doesn't matter. I get a token. Flying Child C, special on this. I wish they could have had something else earlier so I can get rid of cards. I was like, you're just wasting your special effect at multiple times. Decided to add in Vocal. Decided to go into Beetrooper. Beetrooper, decided to go into this. Go into this again. Get the fusion in play. Send these to the grave. I should have just normal sent it normally the fusion. The whole plan there was just mostly your opponent's surrender or make the obvious deck and actually end them. For lulz. Next deck essentially is the regular Silent Dinosaur package deck. The only difference is they're using cards like the Scrap engine mostly with over text. But Entire Slide is only called dinosaurs. With some worms being a tech-in option. Most of these cards, the only stuff isn't, you don't see a lot of the normal stuff nowadays. Overall, the deck's less consistent. Personally, they could have there was that older generation of that monster that happened early on that they could have used. Lost World, it's mostly put together, but the only stuff is one caught by the grave. They should have done that instead of crafting a lightning storm. The second one. And Pod Prosperity is only SR, so only stuff they crafted was this one. And secondary this one, I didn't pull it. The secrets are at least not that bad. The only stuff is mostly level 4s, or at least get at least one of them is a generic card. With Zeus option. Knightmare Phoenix, the last scrap cards. Personally, I saw no issues. This deck mostly relies on the main engine in the deck. Man, I don't have a Ballpark actually, and that's not even a plan of this full vid I got. Get into this. Go into Beetrooper. If they have Ash, I have whatever since I called by the grave. Decided to go into Beetrooper. Personally, the other card I should have added my hand. Could have been anything else, but I figured that was my best choice. Decided to add Beetrooper ration so I can have outs and stuff. I wish this card was one per turn. Design monster, born my monster, but I figured, hey, I could bring back by didn't matter at this point. Go into my own again. Go into Beetrooper. Special summon out. Add a spell. Decide to add. I could have actually attacked my own monster. I should have done it, but I forgot. Since this was my earlier time I was getting used to the deck, I was like, what the heck did I find to do here? I was like, do they have no out or something? Send both the grave. Add Beetrooper. Harpy Thunderster since I already have it out. Advance 3. Social some there. Resonance. Send. This is before I learned more of the combos, but I was also doing it to like a special. Go into another link. Mostly I was also trying to spam as much as I can to win. Since Nibiru, I figured wasn't a deck. Since Knightmare monsters mostly run more dinosaurs, they hardly run anything outside the standard style being either Mekknights or Ash. Personally. Since most of their cards have their own outs with that hand trap the monster, I wish was once per turn really. Next up, it's Weather Painter, nothing much being the normal Weather Painter cards, with some kaijus. And Nibiru to have out. Regeki, Dark Hole. Dark Hole personally is not that good. I feel like the deck, it helps you proc most stuff, but that's about it. Regeki is the secondary option. Harpy Spellduster, Terraforming, mostly add to field spell to hand. I feel like most people should know this deck, the only difference being number. The type of feature, go to Giga Brilliant, Knightmare Shark, so they can actually special summon. Since most of the deck's water monster, since some of the deck I think are weathers, if I recall, nope. I understand this card now. I thought it has. I saw some of them actually were water. Apparently I was wrong. Better cards. I feel like this point is just mostly budget. The only thing is they decided to do since they got show about card effect. Quantum mostly since it's a generic, and you can also get rid of at least material. This card is just the only unit since it can be targeted, and when point activates its effect, with the attribute is non-field while not control the monster face on monster. You can test 2 materials, negate activation, which is kind of good for hand traps mostly, mind you. Downward, I did not know what the heck to do with this card. Okay, yeah, for piercing. Zeus, obviously reasons. Weather Painter for their own card. Weather Painter and their own card. Honestly, I already trimmed. I probably should trim it off that, but I really just don't feel like it. Since this video is already took more time than I thought than my normal bits. I had to research. My point dash did anything, I was like, is it something else? Maxi, call Bedgrave. Since I can do a whole lot of combos, Beetrooper. Decided to go normal. I could've got anything else here, but the Lightning Storm. Get rid of those 3. Special summon that back up. Special summon 1 Beetrooper, get my Sting back in the field. Go into Fly. and I get my fly in set. If the kaiju happened, it was like whatever. Negate it. Didn't really matter to explain since combo-wise it wouldn't matter if I went to Link or not. Since this game. Okay, final match essentially is my Blue Eyes deck against this. Essentially it's cubic, mostly realizing most of the regular cubic stuff. And I'm gonna have fun time with this time steps. Pretty much realizing most of the regular cards being a lot of stuff, they will just banish it away. Anything they could go into outside the cubic, outside the most of the links either way, so it doesn't matter. Running so many generic cards, I feel like most of you should know it, or because cubic's so prominent in some parts of the gold ranks, I feel like most people should know it. Heck, I'm just surprised to see a platinum player actually in 5 run a cubic deck, but it's not surprising as most people hate it. There's not much to say since there was nothing else to go by. I didn't know anything they had. I said a melody, go into that. Add my Blue Eyes, add my alternative. Go into Lord D, get rid of Blue Eyes, special summon out that, summon that alternative afterwards. Destroy that. I could have special summoned, but apparently I'm going to head out. Combat Grave happened. I figured they at least had one, but I wasn't sure. So I call about Grave that. Since that card mostly is probably the most annoying cubic monster. Pretty much I could have just gone bash into one of them. Go into Dragolobian. Walled up by Hope. Since I'd rather get rid of that spell cards. If the opponent I decided had one more copy of that, I swear I was gonna lose my mind. I was just glad I had the necessary outs. So far, I feel like the Beetroppers are probably the best Lunar deck I felt like. At least outs. At least of the two, at least one of them I faced so far. But I pretty much still got some judgments. I do not know when I'm going to be coming back. Probably on Saturday. Probably around 8 or so. I actually hope everyone has a good time, day or night, whenever this comes out.